this is what you do if you're the writers of the Flash right now.
Yeah.
You have the Flash lose a race, like a 1-on-1 50-yard dash to a black guy, right? And he's faster than the Flash now. Even it out, Wouldn't hurt.
I'll give you a hint. The kid on the bicycle this year is faster than the Flash. He's been losing his powers.
Now, Grant Gustin, he put out his own spin on it, and his statement says, "I don't have much to add because Eric's thoughts are stated so eloquently and powerfully." And that's the black lead character of the Flash who plays the dad.
Okay.
And that's
Joe West.
Yeah, he plays Joe West.
Joe West.
So he said,
"Is it Joe?"
Yeah, Joe West.
Is it Joe West?
Yep.
Yeah, Joe West because it's Iris West Allen.
Yeah. Okay.
So he said, I don't have much to add because Eric's thoughts are stated so eloquently and powerfully. I will say I was shocked, saddened, and angry when I saw the tweets. Words matter. Words matter. Thank you, Grant Gustin.
I guess that sounds like it's code for who's not asking about this. I didn't say it. I'm not the bad guy. That's tough, man.
Yeah, it's a real tough one, man. It's sad. Sad. Things that you try to bury in your past always come up, and especially for entertainment, man. Entertainment, TV, movies, any type of if you're in that field, like you have to keep yourself under a constant veil of just like saying the right thing at the right time every time without getting things picked apart or.
Well, it's pretty simple. Don't be a jerk.
Yeah.
If you're on set with people, and you feel yourself wanting to be a jerk, just don't do it. If they've got the mental illness of racism driven in their head, as if a different color of skin makes you a different or terrible person, then they've got some problems upstairs. So it's
a lot of comments now all of a sudden.
No, it's my brother.
Oh, is it your brother? Oh,
I think so.
So it's just one of those things that I've done some independent movies before, and not one person on set has ever been rude. We're all trying to get the same take on a certain scene.
Oh, sure.
And we'll stay there. I mean, dude, 12 hours a day just to shoot two different scenes.
Yeah.
And it didn't matter to me if somebody there was black or white or whatever. There was no hate or anything going on. So if somebody is really digging through this dude's past, he had to have been an immediate jerk to somebody, or made an ass of himself in a derogatory way. That it made somebody want to look at. That made somebody want to go into his past enough to dig up something, because
and that's the thing. Like if you're maybe he was an asshat, man. I don't know the guy. I don't know the particular thing behind Elastic Man or Elongated Man or Plastic Man, whatever the hell they want to call him. I don't know his.
We'll call him Ralph.
Yeah, I have no idea what his character was. I have no idea of the actor who played him. I don't even know what he did, to be honest. I don't know if he played in any other movies or if he was known for anything.
Nah, I don't think he was really known for anything big. No.
But look, man, if you're a dick, like, and like, let's say I was a dick to Kevin, and Kevin wanted to be like, oh, look, man, I could find things on your past that I could bring up on social media. It would ruin your social media, persona of me being a good guy or something. And I mean, it could happen. It could happen. Any one of us skeletons or something in our closet that could be brought up at any time. Anytime, man.
Now, I mean, that's a hypothetical that will never happen. I'm never that kind of person, no matter what. And I love you to death, Tony. I love you too. You know, nothing but love here.
Gay sex later.
The thing is, this dude had to have really gone out of his way to piss somebody off to the point where they would have to get that in their heads.
Yeah.
You know,
and you know what? Like, maybe it was a girlfriend, maybe it was a jilted lover of some sort.
Those are two culprits, yeah.
Could have been anybody. Could have been anybody.
Then you said jilted lover, which would insist that the other person would be a boyfriend. You know.
You never know.
Girlfriend, if you left out the boy part, but it inferred upon it by saying jilted lover.
Jilted lover.
He can have pretend.
He's got some, you know, like a little Seinfeld attitude. He's got some guilt.
You know what? Anything could happen, man. And you know what? Like, maybe he beat somebody out for the position in the movie or in the show. You know, it could have been someone who was like a good friend who was just like, oh man, what about those things you said on Twitter or Instagram, you know, years ago? I'm going to bring those back up.
Yeah, I mean, the line. The
same thing happened to James Gunn.
The line has been drawn with the whole Charlie Sheen thing before, where he went ahead and called Hugh Laurie, a Jewish guy,
yeah,
Jewish, and then also said he had tiger's blood in his veins, and turned out that he was faking HIV. I'm getting a lot of beeping here going on.
Is that you or is that me?
That's my.
Oh, that's thing. You. Okay.
Yeah. Well, there's only so much that producers will put up with, especially during a very sensitive time in the history of humans.
Well, this is the second time in probably a year's time that this has happened. If you remember what happened to James Gunn last year, he actually had the same thing happen where he the things that he said on Twitter or Instagram or something were brought up from years ago in order for him to get kicked off of the Guardians of the Galaxy.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Huh. I don't recall that, but I'm not. It seems to happen with the superhero ones a little bit, right?
It does. This is the second superhero one where
it happened with the quarterback Josh Allen, where he's a kid, 17 years old at the time. He's the quarterback for the Buffalo Bills right now.
Yeah.
But right on draft day, somebody leaked out that information that he had some racial slurs on one of his Instagram accounts.
Yeah. And
to be involved in a locker room and you're sharing a shower with black people and that, here they didn't really the race he was disparaging obviously was the African American race. He ended up not being taken down by it. They realized that he was a 17-year-old kid, and he obviously didn't feel that way.
Oh, sure.
But if you're like a 25-year-old or like a 28-year-old, and you're still making these kind of comments at the time, then you have to say to yourself, "Well, holy crap, man! How long has this been going on?"
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, it's sad. Like I said, entertainment. You can't really. You have to do things and say things that are appropriate for the eyes of the visual. The visual public, and your whole persona needs to be clean. It needs to be polished. It needs to to look and sound and smell and. Everything needs to be good about it. And that's all I'm saying.
Well, how the hell did Donald Trump become president of the...
Because nobody likes Hillary.
Hey, speaking of Donald Trump, right, we're going to cut into our next topic here real quick. Glad you brought that up. Donald Trump in the battle for Space Force. Space Force! It's apparently between Netflix and the government. Now, Space Force technically, and this is the bad this is the bad news for the government. because the government only came out with it 3 years ago. And when they had announced that they were doing the Space Force, Netflix greenlighted the movie 1 year later.
Okay.
So, technically, when they greenlighted the movie, they greenlighted the trademark for the use of the name Space Force before the government did.
Holy Lord.
And not only did they trademark the name Space Force through Netflix for the show, which is it's an alright show, by the way. Apparently, they trademarked it in so many different countries. I guess it was 14 different countries as well. Thoughts, ideas?
Why?
I think that's the question. I think the government dropped the ball. And
that's a big ball right there.
I mean, that's the only way to actually call it. Like, they really, really shit the bed on the whole Space Force thing. They should have trademarked the name. They should have...
trademark it before you even have a press conference about something like that. You gotta take the proper steps to doing stuff. Like, I know some people that have never done any stage time, but first they make a fan page for themselves.
Yeah.
Like, there are certain steps you do before anything like that.
Now, when I came out with the show name, I was like, oh, the Podguyz Podcast. All right. I got to make sure that, first of all, I need to check the internet and scour to see if anybody has this name.
That's a good step one.
Yeah.
That's a solid step one.
It was solid step one, right? So I was like, oh man, maybe I'll check some of the bigger places. Maybe I'll check some of the, the more important sites like iTunes, YouTube. I scoured the web. I scoured the web, every far inch of it.
Remember when you used to just be able to surf the web? Now you got to scour.
I scoured because you need to scour. You need to dip into it. You need to dip into it. And not even a dip. Like, you just got to go head first. You got to go full cannonball. Because if you're stepping on anyone's name, you're stepping on infringement rights, and you're also stepping on copyright.
Yeah.
So as soon as you make a name that doesn't have any other name, and this is for people at home, for if you're starting your own podcast, you're starting your own movie, you're starting your own things like this. If you get it on film or tape, it automatically copyrights. Did you know that? That it automatically copyrights and trademarks your name for you? You don't have to legally do anything besides get it on tape or video that you did it on a specific date and time for the name of your show.
It does to a degree, because I had a similar problem with a joke I had on tape and put out there on YouTube before Keen and Peele had the joke, and I had to get into that bullshit where it doesn't count as plagiarism if they feel like they wrote it without actually seeing you do it, even though you did it first.
Okay.
So the more or less it would be the less they see, the less they know about. You would have to prove that they knew about it, had someone at the show intentionally take that joke from you. It was a pretty funny joke. I still use it today. Every now, quarantine. So what am I doing?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But it was a Guess Who joke, but it's pretty funny. So
officially, the government and Netflix, I believe, are going to go to court about it, especially for the trademark value and copyright laws on Space Force.
Okay, so the people that are in charge of printing money.
You would have thought that they would have been on top of that shit. No,
I mean
they were horrible people. As far as trying to get any infringement rights on that whole thing, nothing. They had nothing.
This is the way this type of White House is working. I guarantee one side's going to say, no, I claim dibs. and they knew it.
Well, if they want the rights back,
Jerry
it's going to
Springer
cost
is
them a
gonna